Do you have the state government growth in the same period, 39%?
I
city and
don't
county?
have the state government. We didn't look at the state government through the same prism, but I probably, see the state government growth is slightly different in the sense that, well, they both have to have a balanced budget. You're required to have a
Yes.
balanced budget. To me, there's a lot of questions. I mean, you have a very complex financial picture in this state government, and it's very hard to get to the bottom of it. I think there are some things that the legislature has done here that are very good. The website to track bills is terrific. It's very good. But I don't believe that you would argue that it's easy to understand the state budget of Hawaii and where the money comes from and where it's spent.
Did you see the first online state budget that came out of the Minority Caucus
No.
last session?
No.
Which is now on my website, and I'll give it to you
You've got to send
later.
me, yeah.
Because it's the first time we ever actually had an Excel interactive spreadsheet where the public could choose what they wanted to do in terms of revenues and what they wanted to do in terms of expenses. Mind you, it was aggregates, but it was still the same decision that most all legislators have. And only
Right.
those in the finance or the Ways and Means really get underneath that in terms of the, what do they call them? Anyways, it breaks it down into nuts and bolts and all the other particular details.
Right.
But so we're just starting to do that, and the more transparent, the more people are going to believe in what we're doing is the right thing.
But
otherwise,
I mean,
it's very secretive right now.
It is very secretive. And like when I was shocked when I saw that the state investments were actually monitored on a paper calendar with somebody like monitor. I mean, that is like insane in 2010 that we have people operating like that here. And then you see the SLARS scandal, this whole issue of the student loan-backed securities.
Yes, we're still finding out where and how that money will be released and how much money we have as literally cash.
Imagine if you set aside $1 billion and you couldn't touch it. I mean, what? And that's essentially the situation the state finds itself in. And so it seems like it's very difficult to scrutinize state government here on a certain level. Now you have an auditor, a legislature has an auditor, who clearly does some good work here and exposed that, for example, exposed the calendar showing the investment pattern, which would be probably a crime anywhere else that anybody would be scrawling on a piece of paper.
Well, how about the 3x5 cards that 8,000 teachers' records, or even more than that? The DOE is using as its personnel records 3x5 cards, index cards.
Are you serious?
And I asked that in the Finance Committee to the DOE, and they didn't deny it, so by default, that's the state of the art of the record-keeping system. So when you couldn't get information, maybe they didn't really have how many they fired, because there's too many 3x5 cards that they haven't put it together.
So they don't have a computer system for HR?
They have in some areas, and it's spotty. In fact, the whole state doesn't have an integrated computer data system. We're a little bit behind in that.
Yeah,
just
that's
a slight
scary.
behind. When you mentioned the fact that information is hard to get, information is not there, to me the best accountability is getting the information, but the best accountability is having the two-party system where accountability is built in vis-a-vis, well, you said that that's the case, and if you want to operate your department, we're going to have to hold back the funds to do that. We can do it in one way by one party, but we can't do it in the opposite. So,
well, I think the other way for government accountability, and it goes to why I think Civil Beat has a role in the community and why journalism is so important, whether in any event, is that you need an independent accountability, not just within the two parties, because that can become cozy as well. You need the scrutiny of the press, and you need people who are not invested in either party's platform or goals to say, look, this is what's really happening. Whether it's Charles DeJoux or whether it's Colleen Hanabusa, whether it's Duke Iona and Mayor Hanneman or Congressman Abercrombie, you need the independent press. And what the concern that is behind Civil Beat is, with the decline of local journalism, what will people know about their community, and what will that lead to the kinds of decisions that are made here about the future and the kind of future we build as a state?
Jen, I don't know if you remember Jerry Burris's, I think his sort of last signature article. He basically said that the state of the art of democracy is declining vis-a-vis what happened to the media. As you said in the beginning, the newspapers and the the TV have all consolidated. They're smaller in number. What do you project in the 2011 session when, in the old days, it used to be 3 cameras every day. There were like 5 journalists.
Yeah.
Will you guys have somebody
Yeah,
at
we'll
the
be
Capitol?
we'll be covering. I mean, I don't know if we'll be here every minute of every day but we will definitely cover Capitol issues. Where I sort of part ways with Jerry Burris's point of view is that I think we have to accept that the internet has opened tremendous transparency opportunities. And while we might look at the old window and say, this controlled group had access to information and sort of shared information, the truth is today, I as a citizen can go on the legislative website and read all the testimony on an issue. I can submit my own testimony. And I think shows like your own, where you're transmitting to the community, there should be way more live video and interactive video so the neighbor islands don't have to come here to participate. It should all be on the internet, and I should be able to submit a question through the internet. It should be much, much more interactive, and I'd like to see the legislature take steps along those lines. I've participated in seminars here where I've been shocked that people didn't think about live streaming it to the web. And that's the kind of thing we are doing at Civil Beat. I mean, we're just getting our legs and learning how to do it, but we're live streaming. When we hold a public event, and we hold public events about important issues to Hawaii, we live stream them on the internet, and we take questions from the audience online, and we then post it so people can see it afterwards. And it seems to me that these transparency measures do a great deal to alleviate the concerns of people like Burris and actually open us up to a better future. But we need to make the transformation, and journalists need to make the transformation. And frankly, journalists have to expect more of themselves, and we have to do a better job. It's not like, everything here was perfect and these were great newspapers and great television stations. Yes, really good work was done. There's really good people. But you're saying we can't do better? I find that hard to believe.
Some of the things you just said were equivalent to some of the floor speeches I made about trying to make Hawaii in what we do in terms of coverage, like C-SPAN.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of people fall asleep watching C-SPAN, but at least they know it's there if they need it, and that's something that's missing. And
that there's a record. There's a record. If I'm interested,
yeah.
I can go back and find out, you mean that really happened? There's a tape of it.
John, this has been a very interesting conversation. The bottom line of this meeting, I'm going to get a subscription after we close off this program. But do you have any closing comments?
Well, I appreciate being here, and I hope people will look at civilbeat.com as an addition to the community and check it out. Just go to www.civilbeat.com and join in and see what we're doing, and consider it a new element that we hope enriches the public life and the democracy in Hawaii.
There you've heard it. Everything you want to know about civilbeat.com. I'm Representative Gene Ward. I represent Hawaii Kai to Kalama Valley. We'll see you next time. Aloha.